Shork's mouth fell open, aghast, as Vltava hurtled through the air towards Zygeli. Then, she screamed as the fluffy little beast thing exploded on impact, knocking everyone in the vicinity to the ground. He explodes? Since when does food explode? The scorching heat intensified, bringing with it the odor of burnt fur and charred meat. An angry orange glow cast long shadows into the surrounding jungle as a fiery form emerged from the ashes of the Gao caught in the inferno. It rose to a towering 10 meters and let out a roar reminiscent of 1,000 raging bonfires. Demon. Demon god. The demon gods have returned. Zygeli's gang picked themselves up and fled into the jungle, leaving a chorus of yips and whines in their wake. Those closer to the river jumped into the water, swimming desperately for the opposite shore. The fiery monster strode through the trees, stomping on any thugs that were unfortunate enough to be in its path. Screams drifted through the trees as everyone, including the residents nearby, fled before its wrath. What is that thing? Shork said in a horrified whisper. A huge fire elemental. A fire elemental? Shork turned at Winter Moon's voice, then Vltava was. Her words trailed off when she spotted Vltava sitting on Winter Moon's shoulder. Vltava yawned, blinking lazily as the carnage expanded outward from the trading post. I thought you exploded. Shork said. What are you talking about? Winter Moon said, good food doesn't explode. Does that mean there's bad food that explodes? She supposed that an exploding meal would be, by default, bad. I'm no military expert, Winter Moon said, but shouldn't you be doing something with your warband? Shork looked away to examine her warriors. They were shaken by the emergence of the huge fire elemental, but seemed otherwise unscathed. Split up into packs of 5, her voice carried across the unnatural stillness. Make sure there's at least one hunter in each pack. Spread out and comb the forest for any of Zygeli's thugs. What should we do with them? Tear them apart and dump them into the river, Shork said. We could do with more fish. What if we find Zygeli? I'm pretty sure he was obliterated in that explosion, Shork said, but if he managed to survive and you find him, he's not worth any more of our time than any of his thugs. Her warriors organized themselves and dispersed to carry out her orders, their eyes bright with anticipation. Shork followed the path of the huge fire elemental, which was marked by a winding procession of blackened bodies contorted into poses of agony. I guess I should be thankful that the jungle isn't on fire after all that. If it was a natural fire elemental, it would, Winter Moon said. Summoned beings do not act according to their respective natures. Not independently, at least. Was there anything that Winter Moon didn't know? She even knew about the taxes and bureaucracy stuff that Master Leeds tried so hard to teach Shork. As they made their way westward, Shork noted that the residents beyond the immediate vicinity of the trading post had unsurprisingly also fled. Fortunately, it didn't look like any had been killed in the confusion. How can that elemental tell Zygeli's people apart from everyone else? She asked. There are plenty of Gao living here. A summon's orders may be crafted in such a way that prevents collateral damage, Vltava said. The invaders were well fed and bore identifying markings. Roars and yips suddenly sounded from their north, followed by a high-pitched yelp of mortal agony. Shork went in the direction of the clamor, finding a group of her warriors standing over the corpse of a dark-furred Gao. Inksock, one of the warriors flicked the blood off of his claws. We found her hiding under the roots of that tree over there. Even as the aggressor, she still had the gall to beg for her life. I'm not surprised, Shork said. It's a good thing that Elemental sent everyone running, or Zygeli's goons might have taken refuge amongst the residents. How far are we to pursue them? All the way to the western border of the city, Shork said. A bunch of them have escaped across the river, but don't give chase. We're not going to take their clan hold? Kaimali asked. This is the ideal opportunity. Their forces are broken and our warriors are eager to deliver the killing bite. Are you crazy? Shork answered. We are spread insanely thin as it is. Our mouths are already stuffed full of problems without us trying to take another bite. But they will regroup even if Zygeli is dead. Then let them, Shork said. It would be nice if they destroy themselves fighting over who takes Zygeli's place. Either way, I doubt that they'll attack us again. We should take advantage of that to establish our other trading posts on this side of the river. The rest of the city can wait until we're ready. And how long will that take? Kaimali said, Didn't want to prevent the suffering of the citizens? I do, Shulk snapped. And we're doing it as fast as we can. We're trying to build as we expand. Overextending our forces will leave what we've built undefended. Shulk turned around and returned to the trading post in a grumpy silence. They were already progressing so quickly, yet that progress still fell woefully short of what was necessary. Master Leeds projected that the Kostarific Isle would fall under their economic influence in a season or so, but how many people would starve in that time? If it took months to stabilize the city, how long would it take to do the same for the greater region around it? She feared that, by then, the flooding and famine would have surely run their course and the population would be a pittance of its former state. It was something Rolengork couldn't afford if it wanted to fend off the Yorgulang invasion. Her only hope was that the other clans across Rolengork were making similar efforts to maintain order and ensure the survival of their people. If everyone did their part, then recovery wouldn't be so difficult. With all of the knowledge and artifice that the humans had introduced, they could rise and surpass their past selves. Once she arrived at the camp, she dispatched a Lup runner to inform the clan hold that the situation was under control. The trading post staff and their families returned an hour later, along with the first shipment of food. It was only then that Shulk finally allowed herself to relax, dangling her legs off of the newly built pier as she watched the remains of Zijali's gang float by. We'll have an impressive haul from the lake in a few months. Potley came up to stand behind her. How were things at the clan hold? Shulk asked. Apprehensive, the mystic answered. Many people were volunteering to come and fight. It was a good thing that your runner arrived when she did, or you'd have 600 of them disembarking right now. Zijali's gang shouldn't be bothering us anymore, Shulk said. Hopefully, that should apply to any of the gangs around the Kostarific Isle once word of what happened gets around. What did happen? Kaimali threw Vltava at them. Literally, I see. Shulk looked over her shoulder with a dubious expression. You knew he was that strong? I had some sense of it, Potley replied. I didn't. Shulk rose to her feet. I thought Kaimali had gone mad. And so did your aggressors, I suppose. Of course. They were laughing right up until they exploded. You mystics are scary. An amused chuckle rose from Potley's throat. I wouldn't say that Vltava is representative of all mystics. We do learn much from our discussions with him, however. Vltava and his people are wise beyond our meager measures. What do you talk about? Shulk asked. At first, we discussed the history of Rolengork. More recently, the flood and the crisis created by it. It's no surprise to anyone that this is an unnatural disaster, but we still don't know anything about the cause. Admittedly, it wasn't something that she thought about. Even if she knew, she obviously couldn't do anything about it. All they could do was try to survive and hope the entire world didn't eventually drown. What did you come up with? There were two likely reasons, Potley replied. The first is that there's a blockage downstream. A landslide or upheaval from an earthquake that has arrested the river's flow. The second is that it's raining or snowing far more than it should be somewhere upriver. One of the merchants that I spoke with yesterday said that the rivers past Kira have become exceedingly violent, Shulk said. Enough to wash entire towns away. Would that explain it? It might. The high rivers are usually made treacherous by the summer melt, but not to the degree that the floodwaters put settlements at risk. Vltava may wish to know this. What do you think he'll do once he finds out? Who knows? As a druid, Vltava is a servant of the balance, but the balance doesn't necessarily weigh in our favor. Many of our discussions with him revolve around the industrial practices of Rolengork, how they've upset the natural order, and how they've created a fatal weakness for our people. If I remember correctly, Shulk said, that's something you mentioned long before Vltava arrived. I did, and it's a large part of why I pursued the cultivation of blood antlers, but it's merely one portion of the solution that is required. Many mystics understand the situation that we put ourselves in, but solutions acceptable to the people are few and far between. As for this flooding, Vltava may interpret this disaster as a corrective measure and do nothing to help us. On that uncertain note, Potley left her to attend to some matters at the trading post. Maybe she could ask Wintermoon to convince Vltava to help. She was at least more sociable. Hey, there you are, Kaimali called out to her. Look who I found. Kaimali walked out onto the pier, holding a disembodied head by its mane. Grost stared at her, His charred features are rictus of agony. It looks like he bet against us, Shawk said. Unfortunately for him. Shawk looked away from her old acquaintance's head to gaze at the silhouette of the clan hold to the southwest. Do you think he encouraged Zijali to attack us? She asked. It's possible, Kamali answered. The gangs are timid before true strength. If Rost had only passed along the mention that we could bring multiple warbands into battle, Zijali should have been cowed despite his success in the city so far, so Rost told him it was probably a bluff based on what he knew of us. That's one of the only reasons I can think of for this attack. And, well, he wasn't wrong. Unfortunately for them, one of our guests is a tiny walking disaster. We can't rely on something like that again, Shawk said. We can't? We can't. If word gets around that we're relying on Vltava for protection, people will attack us whenever they find out he's not around. Wintermoon and the rest of them spend more time exploring than they do hanging around the clan hold, you know. It's still useful, Kaimali told her. Every day of peace that the rumor buys us is a day of peace we have to further develop the clan's holdings and trade ties. You yourself mentioned that, with enough time, we will become unstoppable. She couldn't deny his point. Maybe she was being overly proud. I guess it's always been like that. Throughout their childhood, Kaimali was willing to do almost anything to get by. Shawk, on the other hand, always wanted to do the things she thought she was best suited to, and she was loath to lower herself to do what she thought was below her. Say, she said, do you think I'm doing all right? With the clan, I mean. I'm hardly the person to ask about that. Kaimali casually lobbed Hrost's head into the river and sat down beside her. The elders or master leads know more about the things you've been doing. I'm just Kaimali. I'm asking because you're Kaimali, Shawk told him. Everyone else I get to talk to about this stuff is so lofty. Even the people around the clan hold that we grew up with don't treat me like they used to. They all just look up to Inksok. I don't see anything wrong with that, Kaimali said. That is simply who you are. I don't think anyone was surprised when Shawk became Inksok, nor will they be if she becomes Seelinksok or even Kalilinksok. She hoped that would never happen, but having the clan exert its influence over the city and its surrounding region would invariably promote her, whether she liked it or not. Pursuing membership in the Confederation Council was almost like willingly chasing after a nightmare. So you don't think all this stuff I've been pushing on the clan is too prideful? You've disagreed with me more than a few times on various things. It's not that I disagreed with you, Kaimali said. It's just that I provided my perspective on things. We've always been that way, yeah? I guess. A few minutes passed as they watched countless body parts float by in the darkness. Once in a while, one of them would suddenly get tugged underwater. She wondered how big the fish would be by the time they were harvested during the dry season. Look, Kaimali said. I don't think being prideful is necessarily a bad thing. You don't? Everyone would like to have something to be proud of. It's just that we can't afford it most of the time. Also, for many, the things that they feel proud of are not seen as good things by others. You speak as if the pride that you've carried all this time becomes a burden forced upon others, but I think it's the opposite. Huh? Shawk looked over at Kaimali. How does that work? It gives people a sense of worth, I guess. Not everyone can appreciate everyone else for what they are capable of doing, but seeing one's skills help build something that everyone appreciates is just as good, if not better. I am loved by few for what I can do, but if what I can do helps give rise to Inksok and our reborn clan saves Kostorofi Kerala from this disaster, then what do I care for the love of the masses? I have irrefutable proof that my skills are useful to what I believe matters. I don't think I could have ever thought of that, Shawk said. Well, now you know, Kaimali said. It will be good to keep in mind, I think. Even the most suspicious, unsociable fellow may be someone who would fight to the death for the clan and its lord. All they need is a place to belong and something to believe in or protect. The barges made 5 more shipments before dawn broke over the city. There were predictably no further incursions from Zijali's gang, though Shawk wondered what sort of effect the huge fire elemental had on the other denizens dwelling north of the river. She stepped out from her shelter, wandering around until she found Potley tending to an injured artisan. What happened? Shawk asked. We're in a rush, is all, the artisan answered. Cut myself with one of those new iron tools. Elder Potley cast a spell and the glow of healing magic washed over the artisan. Aside from the artisan's injury, everything else seemed relatively peaceful. How long before we can open the market? Shawk asked.
In an hour or two, perhaps, Potley answered.
Why not take a look yourself? I'm sure there are more than a few questions waiting for you. Shawk grabbed a skewer of meat before making her way up to the trading post's market section. Furniture brought in from the clan hold was arranged around the trunk of each tree and merchants were already laying out their goods. Most of it was food, with the occasional stand selling cloth and leather sundries. Inksock. A merchant called out to her, how does it look? She winced as the sound of her name being called out drew the attention of everyone in the area. Soon, everyone seemed to be asking for her opinion of their displays. Obligingly, she went around to examine all of the stands, stopping to converse with each merchant. There was one question in particular that seemed to be on everyone's minds. How do they pay? Shawk said, we are offering them work, right? Rumors of food and work have spread more rapidly than we thought it would, one of the merchants said. There are probably 3 times as many people in the area as before. Shawk looked at a pair of sentries, who confirmed the merchant's words with a nod. You'd think they'd be more wary of us after that fire thing rampaged across the jungle, one of them said. But I guess they're just that hungry. According to Master Leeds, their trading posts were supposed to gradually take over the local markets as they incorporated more and more of the population into the labor pool. Having everyone's demands dumped on them all at once wasn't part of the plan. What about the other markets in the area? She asked. They are still there, as far as we know, a merchant answered. Our information on their inventories isn't the best, though. How do you want us to handle the crowds, Inksock? The leader of the Day Watch asked. As it is, it's going to be chaos once we open for business. We don't even have a basic perimeter built yet. We won't be able to control them if they come in all at once, Shawk said. Business will slow to a crawl since most of them will be trying to barter whatever they have. Then we should give them something to do, Kaimali said. Oh, you're finally awake. What do you mean by that? Kaimali stretched and yawned as he came over to join them. Zijali's antics messed up our planning, he said. The people out there don't even know what anything we're selling costs. He has a good point. The merchants around them nodded. People usually went into the markets with some idea of what they could get for their offerings. Trading for information with the late Hrost had proven how much food prices in the city had changed relative to a Salopakan. Once they have the right information, Kaimali said, many should disperse to gather what they can trade for food. Given our dealings with Hrost, they will be pleasantly surprised that it's cheaper than they expect. That should give us some time to catch up. I'll go out and hire some criers. We need the warriors to set up queues at each entrance, Shawk said as Kaimali left. How many people can the market handle right now? 100, maybe. We're using a flimsy, temporary setup so any more might end up damaging the stands. There must be a better way to do this, Shawk scratched her ear. People are going to starve while they're waiting in line. One of the merchants raised a paw. Since we're using set prices, she said, is the way we've set things up really necessary? It's not as if we're expecting people to browse and haggle. She's right, another merchant said. Instead of having everyone come crowding in, we can just have them line up at each stall. Then let's do that, Shawk said. Bring 10 tables to the western entrance and 10 to the north entrance. That way, the artisans can continue construction unimpeded. We need 20 warriors on each side to make sure people line up and behave. I don't want any Nara or Irma stepping over everyone else. Also, we need patrols securing the perimeter to keep thieves from sneaking in. Break your duties up into 4 watches and continue training when you're not on security. The trading post staff broke up to carry out her instructions. She hadn't even realized so many had gathered around her. Within minutes, the lines of tables were set up under the curious gazes of the locals. The crowd slowly dispersed as criers started shouting out Asalopakan's exchange values for various commodities. 10 minutes later, the trading post's first customers, a group of Gao, arrived, shouldering bundles of timber. The staff went about weighing the wood on scales set up behind the tables. 2 minutes later, they were counting out slabs of smoked nug in front of the salivating beastmen. Say, one of the Gao asked, what are you using this wood for? I never knew it was worth so much. Fuel, the merchant dealing with them replied. Shawk supposed that it was a bit pointless for the merchant to explain. In Roland Gork, the type of wood the Gao had brought in was mostly used to smoke meat and feed communal fires. Osalopakan, however, was turning it into charcoal for metalworking and a few other industries. They didn't question the merchant's answer, quickly picking up their meat and going on their way. The sight of the group tearing into their food as they walked along caused more people to rush to the tables, bearing all sorts of goods. A few overly energetic beastmen were shoved back into place with growls of warning from the warriors watching the lines.
This is as good as we're going to get it for now, I guess.
Shawk watched a few dozen more transactions before returning to the middle of the trading post, where the foreman and his artisans were preparing to get to work.
How many of the locals did you end up hiring?
Shawk asked.
A few dozen, the foreman answered. We had the pick of the litter, so to speak.
The unfamiliar faces around them were all Na, making Shawk feel as if they were hiring in a similar manner as the city docks.
We can't just hire one race, she told the foreman. I know that Na can carry the heaviest loads, but everyone has their advantages.
We've already figured this part out in the clanhold, haven't we?
It was relatively simple, in hindsight.
Na and Irma could carry the heaviest loads, but they had the worst endurance. In the clanhold, where steady work was available day after day, Gao, Con, and Lup ended up being able to move the most overtime due to their high endurance. As a result, Na and Irma were employed in jobs that required brief bursts of power, like operating lifts for quarried stone and quickly transferring cargo from ships. Gao, Con, and Lup moved things from place to place, which included running the paddle wheels for ships and acting as couriers. Osalo was somewhere in the middle when it came to strength and endurance and could thus fill intermediate roles, but they were unparalleled for construction work in high places.
This is what I figured we needed at first, Ingsok, the foreman said.
Otherwise, we'd be hiring more than we intended and we'll need more staff from the clanhold to supervise them.
Then hire more people and bring more staff from the clanhold, Shawk told him. There are too many people looking for work and we need more experienced workers. The faster we get them, the faster we can raise new trading posts. We need to raise 4 more for this side of the river and 3 for the tribes along the north side of the city.
This side of the river, does that mean we're going to expand south into the rest of the city soon?
Ideally, not until we've established ourselves here, Shawk replied. There are probably 1,000 things that we still need to figure out along the way. Also, our construction crews won't only be for building trading posts. We'll be building new homes for the residents, as well. Arboreal homes, especially, would be in great demand since they served as cover for the Blood Antler farms.
I see,
the foreman said. Then I guess I've been thinking too small. We'll expand our operations as quickly as our logistics allow, Ingsok. I'm sure our people will appreciate it, Shawk replied. Shawk left the foreman to his work, releasing a sigh as she made her way out of the market area to the pier. Not long ago, she would have considered her instructions overly bold, but now they felt just right. Maybe she was finally getting used to the Lord thing.
Ingsok, Potley's voice came from beside her.
Now that our immediate crisis is over, the elder said, I think it would be prudent to convene your court. Our discussions with Voltava lead us to believe that this out-of-season flooding is, in fact, some sort of attack against Roland Gork. Shawk sighed again. She was never going to get used to the Lord thing. So, Shawk said, what was that you said about being attacked? Back at the clanhold, Shawk sat stiffly before her fully assembled court. The midday sun beat down on the assembly, though none but the humans seemed to pay it any mind. Elder Potley rose from his cushion, adorned in the full trappings of a clan mystic. Why did everyone have to dress up? It isn't as if we don't see one another every day. Shawk blew a long, blue tail feather away from her nose. Since everyone else was dressing up, she had to dress up too. Except she was pretty sure they had dressed her up too much. A small army of wives and grandmothers invaded her home and she came out looking less like a beastman and more like a bird. It's hard to believe it's a coincidence, Elder Potley jingled in a ridiculous way as he spoke. The Yorgulans are on the offensive, and this flooding favors the races of the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth was nothing but a name to us until recently, Shawk said. It wasn't until Soraka came along that we learned more about them. If the existence of things relied on our acknowledgement, Potley said, then nothing would exist outside of our jungle. Clearly, that isn't the case. But if they can flood us like this, then why haven't they done so long before?
Why would they fight the Eastern clans for generations to no good end?
Perhaps they weren't ready to conquer Rolengork until now. And what would make them ready? The elder didn't seem to have an answer for that.
We should ask the warrior clans, he said. That son of Narkiera shared information with us without hesitation. In hindsight, we should have asked for the details behind the Yorgulan invasion.
That did appear to be the case. As a city dweller, the warrior clans had always been a mysterious, almost untouchable existence. Her first brush with them as Soraka's student revealed that they were rather open with fellow warriors, and the knowledge that they shared with one another made it seem like they lived in an entirely different world. She still didn't understand why they insisted on standing apart from the average denizen of Rolengork, but that didn't mean she was content to remain ignorant.
I guess it wouldn't hurt to ask,
Shork said. I'm not sure how to go about doing that, though. How far does our merchant network extend?
What we have so far can barely be called a network, Master Lead said. Our merchants go one city in any direction, at best. We can field a trade expedition to Kira if you'd like, but, if our information is accurate, that will tie up every ship we send for upwards of 2 months. There was no way she could stay away from her clan hold for that long. Recent events had proven that even a single day could bring radical change to her clan's situation. If we do send an expedition, she said, we are going to have to plan things thoroughly. Showing up for no reason other than to demand answers to our questions wouldn't be well received.
What if we offer them a gift? Master Leeds asked. A gift?
Shork's tail curled curiously, as in tribute?
That may not be the right term in this case, Master Leeds said.
If I understand it correctly, the warrior clans of Rolengork are expected to contribute to the defense of the Confederation. That fellow from Narkiera may have afforded you a bit of favorable treatment, but that favor flowed from him to us. If we go barging and demanding what only an officially recognized warrior clan normally has access to, the reception may be outright hostile. Across the courtyard, heads bobbed in agreement.
Master Lead speaks truly, Metzeli said. The warrior clans have always been proud. Assuming privileges that we have no right to in their eyes is bound to elicit a hostile, if not outright violent, response.
So this gift is supposed to keep them from tearing us apart, Shork said.
What is it?
If you say warriors, we still can't spare any. We don't have an excess of much, overall. Fortunately, we enjoy a unique position that will allow us to contribute in other ways, Master Leeds told them. As an industrial center, we can produce war materiel for the warrior clans. In particular, leather equipment. All of the hides that have come in along with the meat have given our leather workers a lot of practice. We can send a barge full of it, 2,000 suits, to Kiro along with our request for information. That was one commodity they had plenty of. The citizens usually wore cloth, as leather was too expensive, leaving Osalopakan with a vast surplus of leather. Do you think they'll accept it? Shork asked. They may be closed-mouthed about nearly everything to outsiders, Master Leeds answered, but there are some things that they just can't hide. Kaimali told me that the merchants from the other day were speculating over whether the warrior clans could pay for anything with the seasonal tributes disrupted. Considering everything else that has happened, I'd say an equipment shortage is almost a guarantee. We have records from the surrounding markets over the past month that suggest the same. All right, so we send them this gift. The gift isn't the equipment, Master Leeds told her, it's the deferred payment. Shork leveled a flat stare at the guildmaster. What? He said, do you know how much one suit of leather armor is worth? No merchant in their right mind would give an entire barge of it away. But we have more leather than we can use, Shork said. And it's a merchant's job to find a suitable buyer for everything. Think of it this way, the equipment is effectively free until Rolengork wins or at least regains its footing. Repayment is something we can only enjoy if we survive, and it secures a relationship with one of the great clans. She wasn't sure if anyone would consider debt a relationship. Not a favorable one, at any rate. There's no rule stating that we have to be obnoxious about it, the guildmaster grinned at her sour expression. We can supply them with as much equipment as we can make and be as lenient about repayment as we wish. So long as you have that tie to them, you have an excuse to keep in touch or even introduce new goods. It's no wonder that Kaimali took a liking to you, Shork muttered, even your hooks have hooks. Are we capable of providing so much equipment? One of the elders asked. You are correct in the fact that we have plenty of leather, but leather workers are another matter entirely.
It's no problem, the guildmaster replied. There's no deadline for the first shipment. Given that we're looking at a huge, generational war in the East, we should be ramping up production as an industrial center deep inside friendly territory. The city is full of people trying to make ends meet, and it's a damn waste that no one's harnessed that potential. Shawk wondered how far Master Leeds' plots went. Every problem turned into an opportunity for profit, and it felt like he was the most serious person about building Shawk's empire. He framed everything as beneficial in one way or the other, if not in several ways at once, so it was hard for anyone to find unacceptable faults with his proposals. That brings us to the next topic, Shawk said. I'm sure everyone's heard of what's going on to our west. About that, one of the elders asked. Shouldn't the displaced people be returning to their former homes? I can't imagine they enjoy such cramped conditions. There will be sanitation issues, besides, another elder added. We haven't imprisoned them, Shawk said, but we don't have the warriors to protect the people if they go back across the river. Our trading posts are on the northern side, as well. Why not also build these trading posts on the south side of the river? We will, but we don't have the people to be everywhere at once, even if you put them right across the river from the northern trading posts. Shawk looked down at Master Leeds. It's not impossible, the guildmaster admitted. There are still the problems with security that you stated, though. Since there's no river to serve as a barrier until the next valley, the people who move back over will be vulnerable to the gangs that have occupied the other clanholds around the city. The people that we're trying to feed may very well have their food stolen away by force. Don't worry, Shawk told the elders, it shouldn't be long until we can start moving across the river. So long as we can get the northern tribes to cooperate and we continue diverting the river trade to our port, we can keep building up the clan. We've been balancing on some narrow branches since the flooding started, but we'll be in a comfortable position once we sort out the situation in the west. Have you given any thought to the formation of new tribes under Osalo Pakan, Inksock? Uck. An unexpected question flew in from the far side of the court to smack her in the head. I don't think that's something we should rush, Shawk said. Tribes and their chiefs don't just happen overnight. That's why I suggested that we start with community leaders. Those who show that they have what it takes to be a chief can be selected after that. To her annoyance, half of the elders seemed dissatisfied with her response. Why are you in such a rush to create new tribes? Shawk asked. Do you hate court sessions that much? The new chiefs will sit in court? Yeah? Shawk replied, they will if there's something that concerns their tribes, anyway. The elders seemed surprised by her answer. Seriously, what do they want? Maybe they were just being old and cranky. After a long and grueling afternoon of reorganizing people, ensuring everyone in her territory got what they needed, and an onerous discussion about how they would expand their fungus farms, Shawk staggered out of her court in an attempt to revive herself. Inksock. 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 She shuffled to a stop halfway along one of the ball courts. There, a handful of young warriors were looking up at her with bright eyes. Inksock. The tallest of them said, we heard you won a great victory in the west. I wish they took me as well. Me too. How many people did you kill? Shawk forced herself to straighten. We still need plenty of warriors and hunters, she told them, so be sure to train hard. A round of even greater enthusiasm came in response. Train with us, Inksock. I guess I could. Though it had only been a few days since she had last trained with her warriors, so much happened since then that it took her several moments to recall when that was. The young Osalo trainees, of course, employed the natural stalk and pounce tactics of their race, keeping their distance and trying to attack from the rear much as they would when hunting prey. This aspect of their nature made them difficult to train as what people commonly perceived to be a warrior, and they weren't thought of highly due to their elusive behavior in combat. Still, it was what Shawk had to work with, as the majority of her people were Osalo. And it wasn't as if there weren't any Osalo warrior clans. Inksock. Shawk looked away from her opponent and ended up with him hanging off of her shoulder. In the seating above the ball court, a familiar Na looked down at them. Rollo, Shawk said. You're back already? We just got back less than an hour ago, Rollo replied.
Natamal was desperate for fodder, so the merchant turned us around as soon as he negotiated payment. That's not a surprise. Shawk peeled the Osalo youth off of her arm. How was your first escort? I never knew that simply walking could be so tiring. It was a bit annoying that the con carrying the litters looked like they were slowing down for me. Sorry, Shawk said, we are still figuring that stuff out. The strangest part about Osalopakan was that, while it was originally an Osalo clan, the Kostarafike Isle had long become a place where every race in Rolenkork dwelt. Having a mixed-race clan was unprecedented, but it felt inevitable for Osalopakan. Slowly, but surely, the population of non-Osalo grew as they expanded their influence. This came with all sorts of challenges, but it also came with the realization of certain possibilities that were impossible for a single-race clan. Rollo's merchant escort was an investigation of some of those possibilities. They tried to leverage the strength of every race, but it would take time for them to strike the right balance between them. Were there any problems along the way? Shawk asked. Not that I noticed, Rollo answered. Then again, I just accompanied the cargo while the hunters kept an eye out for trouble. When the escort was first described to me, I thought it'd be like the jobs I've sometimes taken around the city where I just have to look big and threatening. Well, that is a part of your job, Shawk said. You are there as a deterrent and as a heavy hitter if necessary. Most of our new warriors quickly realize that their work outside of training barely involves any fighting. But there was a fight, wasn't there? People were talking about a great battle on the western fringes of the clan's territory. Shawk shifted uncomfortably at the thought of all the wild rumors that were probably circulating throughout the clan. She did want certain rumors to spread out into the city so the other gangs wouldn't bother them, but the way that her people treated her after coming back was an unwelcome surprise. It was a short battle, Shawk replied. Zijali, you've heard of him, right? The slumlord? Yeah. Anyway, a bunch of gangs took over the city clanholds when the clan lords withdrew to their territories. Zijali moved into the one-up river from us and he's been busy marking his new territory. He didn't like that we were expanding nearby and tried to get rid of us. After they found out that their usual tactics wouldn't work on us, they routed. Hopefully, Rollo wouldn't ask for details. Shawk wasn't sure how she would explain the weaponization of one of their guests. I'm glad that I didn't join Zijali, Rollo said. He tried to recruit you? Too late, Shawk realized that it should have been obvious. Any of the gangs would have loved to add one of the more well-known pit fighters in the area to their strength. Yeah, Rollo replied, I turned the goons that came to see me down and they didn't want to risk pressing the issue. Why did you decide to refuse them? They are parasites, the Naa shrugged. Once the city they've been feeding off of has nothing more to give, they'll start gnawing off their own limbs. I have 2 cubs to care for and that's hardly a situation that I want to raise them in. Unlike the gangs, Osalopakan has something beyond scum and villainy going for it. Speaking of which, I have a question for you, Inksok. Sure, what is it? If you were capable of leading this clan, then why did you compete at the fighting pits? Shawk blinked slowly at Rollo's question. Why did people assume that she had always been what she currently was? I just wanted to help the people around me, at first, Shawk replied. It wasn't as if I grew up wanting to be a lord. Then why did you do it? It just happened, Shawk said. People started seeing me that way and I felt more and more obliged to do what I could to improve things around me. Eventually, it became this. She gestured to the busy clan hold around the ball court. That's a very big eventually, Rollo said. You don't have to tell me that, Shawk replied. Anyway, I should check with the merchant guild to see what the guildmaster has to say about that caravan. Make sure you get some proper rest before your next escort. Shawk made her way over to the human district on the clanhold's second terrace, which had gone from a humble square of tents to a market surrounded by simple stone buildings. Dozens of homes for the humans and their families had been raised, as well, with more on the way as labor allowed. The humans themselves were as busy as ever, toiling away in their workshops, tending to their storefronts, and instructing a small army of beastman apprentices. At the Merchant Guild, she found not only Master Leeds, but also Kaimali. The two were standing across from one another at the office's front desk, where the guildmaster was busy recording something in a stack of parchment bound with string. Welcome, Inksok. Master Leeds looked up as a set of chimes announced her entry. What's going on? Shawk yawned.
Kaimali's hooked another merchant, the guildmaster said. From downriver this time. That's great. She perked up. The elders were concerned that we'd be depleting our stockpiles trying to feed all those extra people. If the estimates about the population north of the river are correct, Master Leeds said, we need 2 full barges a day to break even. We're not quite there yet and we've no idea how quickly imports will dwindle. Ideally, we want to keep building up those stockpiles even as we supply food to the new population. I won't know how viable that is until those merchants start fulfilling those contracts we issued. We've handed out 20 contracts so far, Kaimali said, so that alone should be 20 barges of meat by the end of the week. It should be almost double what we need right now. Plus, we have yet to intercept the merchants coming from the southern side of the lake. Don't take all of the city's food, Shawk said. That will just make everyone hate us. I doubt they even realize what we're doing, Kaimali said. And what do we care if those gangs hate us? It's the people that will suffer, Shawk told him. If the gangs don't get enough food to distribute to the populations under them, then they'll let everyone starve to feed themselves first. We'll get to them eventually, Master Leeds said. Have you considered what measures you'll have prepared once they have their backs to the wall, Inksock? Shawk's tail twitched at the unfamiliar words. Backs to the wall? I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. When our influence and control grows significant enough that we corner the gangs. Given how Zijali's bunch reacted to us setting up that trading post, I imagine that intimidation and violence is their go-to method of getting what they want. She hadn't given much thought to the specifics of that, yet. An overwhelming advantage on Osalopakan's side would see the gangs slink away, but, much like the previous night, it was possible that they would try to interfere with expansion, development, and growth before things got to that point. Kaimali, Shawk said, what do you think are the chances of the gangs working together to keep us from getting too powerful? I don't think I've ever seen them work together, Kaimali replied. The closest thing to it is when they independently prey on the same target because they sense weakness. Maybe Zijali's gang will be absorbed by another gang, making them strong enough to give us trouble? Assuming that the rumors about Zijali's defeat aren't treated seriously. Would an even bigger gang swagger over to threaten them as Zijali had? How powerful would Osalopakan have to be to deter any acts of aggression? Rather than speculate endlessly over this, Master Leeds said, why not send dedicated agents to keep an eye on the rest of the city? So long as we have some idea of what's going on and how powerful each gang is, we'll have something to measure our economic and military progress against. That makes sense, Shawk said. Do they have to do anything special? If the other gangs have acted as Zijali's has, Khorstarifi will be a much different city from the one we remember. Master Leeds crossed his arms, raising a hand to scratch his chin. I was hoping that we could just send merchants to trade with other parts of the city or just have some people wandering around, he said. Even some people pretending to be shopping around or looking for work would net us plenty of information. Out of curiosity, do spies exist in Rolengork? What are those? Shawk asked. She sensed that the spies he mentioned would lead to another endless expanse of information that she would need to learn. They are, well, do the warrior clans conduct reconnaissance? They do, Shawk replied. Hunters are used for that. Spies are kind of the same, except they usually don't fight. They just collect information. Oh, Kaimali said. I can help organize that. We have plenty of people who have done this sort of thing in the past. You should have said so at the beginning instead of using that fancy word. The guildmaster's eyes went from Kaimali to Shawk, then back down to his work. Should I go and do it? Kaimali asked. Yeah, Shawk said. Just don't send them to do anything crazy. It will be like the old days, Kaimali said. Except without being poor and starving. Kaimali rushed out of the office, leaving Shawk, Master Leeds, and a few of his staff in the office. The guildmaster looked up at the closing door and shook his head. That guy is perpetually excited about everything. He's always been like that, Shawk said. There's always some new idea or opportunity he wants to try out. Even if they result in failure, he just laughs it off and tries something else. It's a good attitude to have for a merchant, Master Leeds nodded. Most people don't handle things like rejection and failure well, and merchants experience rejection and failure aplenty. Really? It always seems like you have the right answer for everything. Well, I don't mean to sound condescending, but many of the problems that you're facing have been long solved elsewhere. All you need is the knowledge, will, and resources to implement those solutions. Since everyone is keeping an open mind here and cooperating with my people, things will naturally go pretty smoothly. I hope it stays that way, Shulk said. We have enough problems coming from outside of the clan. Oh, I saw that the first trade caravan is back. How did things go with Natamal? Uneventfully, Master Lead said, which is good. A few of our people stayed behind at their village to consult them on fodder storage, our new products, and so on. We've already sent the next caravan of blood fungus, as well. Once Natamal is decently caught up on things, we'll increase our trade volume and fatten up those herds. When will you be speaking to the next tribe? I don't know, Shulk admitted. My head's been full of all of the stuff that keeps happening to us that I haven't thought about it at all. If things stay quiet, then I guess we can start preparing for a visit tomorrow. In that case, the guildmaster lowered his head. I'll prepare the details for the court, Inksock. Shulk left the merchant guild, feeling a bit lost. She walked in a daze down the newly paved streets on her way back to the top terrace, absently acknowledging the people calling out her name. Did I just run out of things to do? Her mindless steps continued carrying her forward, and, before she knew it, she found herself back in her home. Her dark stone alcove looked especially welcoming. It's all right to sleep, right? I've been awake since that nap yesterday. Shulk curled up on her bed, closing her eyes as she relished the sensation of the cool stone. There were plenty of small things to take care of, to be sure, but the march of events that threatened imminent doom seemed to have come to an end. All that was left to face was the doom that loomed in the not-so-distant future.